Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back and welcome to Thinking Outside of the Box. So are you in a rut? Have you come to the end of your ropes going, there's gotta be more, man, there's gotta be more? Well, you know what? The more chords you know, the more you're going to be able to do. And the more you're going to be able to be more creative because you'll have more to draw upon. So regardless of how many chords you know, what you do know, you have to know how to work with them, obviously, right? So you could know 12 chords, 14 chords, 500 or 600 chords, right? But it doesn't matter what you know. If you can't think outside the box, even with all that knowledge of all those chords, yeah, it's not helping you any, is it, right? So I'm going to try and help you out a little bit here. Now, one of the things I was taught, and I teach my own students, is these 3 simple blues patterns. That's 1. And that's 2. And this will be number 3. But man, I gotta tell you, that gets so boring and so old so fast, and you can only do so much with it. So we figure, what can we do? Well, let's add some distortion. That's just not doing it. It just doesn't sound as good, right? And it's the same old flippin' thing, right? We need to get out of the rut. We need to get out of the, this is how we do things. We must experiment. So we're going to experiment a little bit. Wow! Isn't that awesome? And it just took some power chords, and the chords are following the notes within this. Right? So instead of going, right, and using this note, you're backing it off 1. You can, double it. Or you can just single shot it. Whatever you want to do, right? Be creative. Think outside the noggin a little bit. Take what you know and twist it and rip it and tear it and stretch it and glue it all together into a big bunch and chop it up in little pieces and figure it out. I mean, really, it's not that it's difficult. It's just that sometimes people, and I get it, I've been there, we get into this spot where it's like, there's got to be more to this. And I was in that spot with those 3 blues patterns. I got sick of them, But when I learned how to experiment with them and add different things in, made a difference. When I figured out, hey, this sounds like a pretty good distortion tone. And that's actually a pretty good tone even for a strat to follow. Right? And that was with the neck and the middle, or sorry, bridge and middle. This is just the bridge. little more throatier, right? Because it acts kind of like a humbucker. But even for a single coil, Sounds actually pretty good even with that kind of distortion coming out of that little Vox amp. But you know what? Do what you want, right? You know, sky is the limit. Same as theory, right? Part of theory is this stuff. Principal chords. We shall play in the key of C, and our principal chords that we may use are C, F, and G7. Our relative minors will be A minor, G minor, and E7. What? What did I just read? No! We don't want that. That's garbage. We want to be a little bit more experimental, okay? We want to actually see what goes together even better than that. So, C, G, and D. Wow, I'll be darned. If you're playing in the key of G, you get G, C, and D7. E minor, A minor, B7. And it's kind of like, you know what, there's more to it than that. That's like examples, right? They don't give you every possible combination that you can use, right? They just say, here's what you got. And some people take this as pure law, you know? And it's like, why would you be so crazy to do that? It's like, you know, in the key of A, for example, on their chart, you got this other chart up top, right? And on A, they say A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. Okay, so, yeah, alright, fine. But what if I want to play in D sharp? Well, I get E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp. Wait a minute. Some of those are very familiar. Wait a second. You know what I mean? The transposing chart, when you want to transpose to a different key, you can either do it with the actual real chord, you know, so if you actually need this chord and this voicing, that's fine, right? But if you don't know those power chords yet, then, my friends, we have to introduce you to a little friend called the Capo. Now this thing is a wonderful little toy. And this is part of this video of, you know, you gotta think outside the noggin. So we want to play something in A flat. But we want G involved in here. But we're not playing a G anymore. It's a G formation, but it's actually A flat or G sharp. Which is your preference? The fretboard is dual, okay? So G sharp is A flat. C, which we had before, but because we're in the key of A flat, C is now a C sharp. And D is now a D sharp. Oh, wonderful. Interesting, isn't it? So if we play the D, we have to move up one to get to D sharp, right? But it's not going to quite... It would sound correct without the capo as long as you do the 3 strings. But if you do the open D above, it doesn't sound right. And because D goes to D sharp with the capo, you are in G sharp now. So now you're playing a D sharp chord. So it's pretty easy to figure out what chords you're playing when you're using regular fingerings for standard chords, right? Some people are very chord limited, so, you know, capos are very handy for those people, and there's nothing wrong with it. Some people just have, you know, finger problems where they can't do it. They can't stretch to bar chords, or maybe that voicing of that chord that they actually want to play, the voicing is wrong for them. So they need a different voice of an A sharp, or a different voice of a B flat, or whatever. And there's alternative ways using a capo, and a capo can get you to do some creative stuff too, right? So if you want to play that blues stuff here, so we've actually moved the nut up a few spots is what we were doing, because this is the new nut, right? So now we're basically a step and a half up, right? So that's going to alter things. get those sounds without the capo. This is not going to happen for you, right? So it's kind of like, well, I guess we do need a capo after all, don't we, Kev? Of course you do. And anybody who says that you are a loser because you use a capo, I think they might be talking about themselves because they don't know how to use one. It confuses them too much, right? I don't know. I really honestly don't know. I know of a few guys on Facebook groups that they will call you every name under the sun if they even see you anywhere near a capo. Because to them, you're not a real guitar player if you use a capo. Well, I'm sorry, I only know a little over 500 some chords without the capo, but with the capo, it unlocks hundreds of more for me. Yeah! That you don't get to play without the capo. So yeah, but capos are great for key changing too and getting your voice to get in tune with a song. So the song is like I said, in the key of A flat. You know, your first chord obviously is likely going to be a G, right? Which is A flat, right? So it's a G formation. You'll see G on the paper, but you're actually playing the key of A flat. You know, timing is everything. You got to learn beats per minute and all that other jazz, but you know, that comes over time, right? Don't rush into guitar. Just, you know, have fun with it. Don't get too technically involved with it at the beginning because it'll drive you mental, trust me. You know, if you want to change the key of A, we're going to use the same chord progressions, but now we're playing an A, right? And then we got to look at what other chords we're playing. Now we're playing the C is actually a D, right? Now the D is actually an E. Kind of weird that an E is there, but do the math, okay? Do the math, and you'll figure it out. Actually, I don't think that's a D. An E. Yeah, actually it is. Gotcha! Alright, so, but, thing is, you can move the capo, When you get up to the 5th fret, you're actually a guitarlele. You know what a guitarlele is, right? It's one of those 6-string little things with nylon strings. Looks like a ukulele. They call it a guitarlele because it has 6 strings and it's way up there in pitch, right? So, you know, you're definitely playing some interesting stuff. That's like distorted. Here's a little secret for you. When you're playing a 3-finger power chord, or a 2-finger, it doesn't matter where this capo is, right? As long as you're playing in front of it, right? This chord is still the same chord as it always would be, so this is an E. Right? And then you still got your B. See? Because your pitch isn't being messed with because you're covering the same 3 strings and only playing those 3 or the 3 below. So when you get into the basic chord formations, some stuff will sound good, some stuff probably won't. Right? Think outside the box. Use the tools. They made these things for a reason. So we got more fun to have, more songs, more abilities, and more chords at our access without having to get into some confusing stuff too. You know, it's kind of like trying to play an F sharp minor, right? I mean, a lot of people are like, hell, what's that? You know, that's a bar chord. A lot of people hate bar chords, no matter how easy it is to press on the neck. You know, people don't like them, right? I get it, but you can avoid them if you use a capo. The problem is, you limit yourself then. You want to not limit yourself so much. Acoustics are very hard to do bar chords on. Even a really well set up one can be hard, because either way, you got really big strings in comparison to electrics, right? And it takes a lot more to push them down regardless, right? And to hold them there properly to get enough pressure. So bar chording is kind of something that, well, it's not for the weak. You need to really practice and build your finger muscles up for bar chords on acoustic. Whereas electric, it's pretty effortless. Right? Some bar chords actually sound pretty good with distortion, but some really don't. So it's kind of your option as to what you want to do, and you know, it's kind of nice having a selection of the different pickups, whether it's a Strat or a Tele or whatever you got, right? And but just start thinking outside the box and experimenting with stuff. So anyways, that's pretty much about going to cover this video for today. I just thought I'd throw some stuff out there for you guys. Maybe you're having a little bit of struggles. I know I've been through them myself, and this is something that's helped me out by just sitting around getting creative, farting around with different things and figuring, hey, this sounds pretty good, man. Like, anyway, thanks again. See ya.